This is the insane origin story of DC's new Absolute Universe, Attention Span Edition. With Absolute Power finally wrapped up, now is the perfect time to dive into DC's all-in special, 50 long pages of pure, unfiltered comic book cinema. At the end of Absolute Power's finale, the Trinity made a decision. It was time to revive the Justice League. But not just the League they once knew. This time, it would be bigger, stronger, and more united than ever. They didn't stop at building a massive new watchtower. They sent out invitations to every single hero on Earth. And those invitations, they weren't just letters. They were cutting-edge Justice League membership cards, crafted from the combined genius of Steelworks, Wayne Tech, Queen Industries, and Terrify Tech. But that was only the start. They fused the cards with alien tech from Krypton and Thanagar, powered them through the Speed Force, anchored them with John Stewart's willpower. And as if that wasn't enough, Wonder Woman blessed each one through the gods, imbuing them with magic. Why so much power for a single card? That answer would come later. The scene shifts, Superman soaring high above Metropolis, reflecting on everything they'd been through. Lazarus Planet, Dark Crisis, Absolute Power. Time and again, their enemies had united to break them, and time and again, they had survived. But if the League was returning, it had to be different. They couldn't just bring back the old way. This time, everyone needed a seat at the table. Some heroes, like Roy Harper and Starfire, gladly accepted. Others, like Blue Beetle and Metamorpho, weren't sure. And Damian Wayne, he was certain the Justice League was something he wanted no part of. Most of the invites were delivered instantly through teleportation thanks to Mr. Terrific. But one, Superman wanted to deliver personally to Booster Gold, who had just finished rescuing 2 children from a burning building. Booster was different now. Once, he chased fame, clout, and views. Now, he did the right thing simply because it was the right thing. Superman had always seen past the showman, seen the heart. Booster had stumbled, yes, and the League hadn't always welcomed him, but his growth was undeniable. And this card? This was his proof. Booster knew exactly what it meant. He'd seen one like it before in a museum, an artifact from an era when heroes stood together in unity. To him, this was history, and he was part of it. Later, the heroes gathered at the new watchtower, fully loaded with boom tube tech, powered by both magic and science, communications set up by Oracle herself. This was more than just a headquarters. Mr. Terrific addressed the crowd. These cards weren't just membership IDs. Each was customized to amplify its hero's abilities, to link them with others for devastating synergy. One card, however, remained blank, a permanent open seat at the table for any future hero. Booster smiled. It was just like the card from the museum. But before the moment could settle, the entire watchtower began to shake. A surge of negative energy flooded the room. Zatanna, Hal Jordan, and others were possessed. Omega beams tore through the air. There was only one possible source, Darkseid. But this wasn't the Darkseid they knew. This was Darkseid bonded with the Spectre. Even with 50 heroes in the room, the League couldn't touch him. Darkseid demanded to know the surge he had felt, an answer no one was willing to give. Zatanna spotted a weakness. The Spectre's bond wasn't complete. Wonder Woman bound him with the lasso of truth, while Raven, Fate, and Deadman flooded Superman with magic, boosting him to the point where he could take Omega beams head-on. The gamble worked. The Spectre was ripped free. But in doing so, something else tore loose. A new world, a new reality, the Absolute Universe. Here, everything was inverted. Villains ruled the system. Heroes were chaos. Wonder Woman was raised in hell. Batman fought just to survive. Superman burned brighter than ever against a sea of darkness. Darkseid reigned supreme, capable of growing 1,000 feet tall, his voice shaking planets. His plan? Grow stronger, return to Prime Earth, and crush it. And then Booster Gold, sent through a dangerous rift, saw the impossible. Darkseid's Legion, a gathering of the most dangerous villains in existence. But to understand how it came to this, we go back 52 days earlier. Instead of the Trinity building their ultimate weapon, Darkseid built a miracle machine, created by capturing Hymon, the same man who built the Mother Box. The device could grant miracles, but only for one bound to it by blood. So Darkseid took his own hand and chopped it off, poured his blood into the machine. It wasn't enough. His children interrupted, Kalibak boasting of an unstoppable army made from parademons, white Martians, and Daxamites. But Darkseid wasn't interested in armies. He had felt something new, a surge unlike anything before, and he wanted to know its source. When Kalibak persisted, Darkseid struck, but Kalibak made one final plea. They shared blood. Use him to complete the bond. Darkseid agreed in his own way. He plunged his arm into his son's body, hurled him into the machine, and finished the connection. From there, Darkseid began his rampage, tearing across the multiverse in search of the Spectre. He annihilated Hell's forces, then Heaven's, until finally, on the dark side of the moon, he found Eclipso. Eclipso had the home field advantage, and at first, he overpowered Darkseid. But Darkseid had prepared, triggering a boom tube timed to open at the brightest sun in the galaxy. Eclipso, weakened by the light, fell. And with him gone, Darkseid claimed Jim Corrigan, the Spectre's host. The Quintessence appeared, warning him the Spectre could not be bound against its will. But Darkseid had already rewritten the rules with the Miracle Machine. He made his wish, and the Spectre was his. During the battle at the Watchtower, he demanded again, tell him the truth about the surge he'd felt. The Spectre answered, at the core of all reality was life, and as life expanded, an opposing force rose with it. The multiverse's growth had scattered his aspects, weakening him. But when the multiverse was sealed during absolute power, all that energy flowed back into him. This was Darkseid's true form, complete, singular, and more powerful than ever. Still, he wanted more. And in that moment, he saw it. His destiny. Across time, he'd been a god and a pawn, a force and a shadow. But now, he was done with always. For the first time, Darkseid opened himself to death, and in doing so, he was reborn. No longer tethered to Earth or Superman or anything. If Prime Earth stood for life and hope, his absolute universe would be built on challenge and turmoil. In this world, the heroes were the underdogs, the villains, the system. And in its heart stood absolute Batman, fighting to keep hope alive, and absolute Superman, burning like a star above it all. Darkseid stood in full control, limitless, capable of shaking entire planets with his voice, and when his power peaked, he would return and destroy the other world. And there, just like before, Booster Gold arrived, staring up at Darkseid's legion, an army born to crush everything. The absolute universe had begun.